Natural arbitration and the economics of conflict in the high bidder system. 1. The market of ownership and the sequence of resolution. In the high bidder system, every dispute over property begins with transparency. All valuations, budgets, and reputations are public. Each prospective owner knows both their own expected productivity from controlling the asset and that of their rival. This openness ensures that the first stage of any dispute is not a call to arms, but a call for offers. The initial mechanism of resolution is a buyout opportunity. The higher bidder offers to purchase the claim of the lower bidder at a mutually observable price. If the lower bidder accepts, the property transfers peacefully, reflecting the principle that capital should always migrate to the most productive user. Only if the lower bidder refuses to sell, despite being outbid, does the process escalate to the enforcement phase, where enforcers are hired as a backup to determine the outcome. 2. The buyout as voluntary arbitration. The buyout stage functions as the first and most efficient form of arbitration. It allows both parties to settle without destruction, converting potential conflict into a direct capital transaction. Because all data are public, both sides can verify that the higher bidder genuinely values the property more. Accepting a buyout is not surrender, it is a profitable exit from a losing position. This makes the buyout the natural equilibrium in most cases. It satisfies both sides, prevents waste, and requires no enforcement costs. Only when ego, miscalculation, or strategic signaling override economic rationality does the conflict move to the second phase. 3. Enforcers as the backup arbitration mechanism. When buyout fails, enforcers become the backup mechanism of arbitration. Each owner funds an enforcer according to how strongly they value the property. If both sides spend equally and have equal capability, the spending cancels out, producing no net advantage, only wasted resources. Thus, the lower bidder quickly realizes that escalation simply converts their capital into public loss. In a fully transparent environment, the reputational penalty imposed on the lower bidder equals the real resources consumed by both enforcers. This reflects evolutionary justice. Those who cause destruction pay for it. Enforcers' profit margins remain internal to their operations, but the real spending represents society's capital loss, deducted from the instigator's reputation and future purchasing power. 4. The incentive to back down, natural arbitration. Knowing that losing a fight means paying not only their own costs but also a reputational fine equal to the total resources destroyed, the lower bidder faces an overwhelming incentive to yield early, preferably during the buyout phase, or immediately once bids diverge. Backing down is not moral weakness but economic rationality. The transparent record of bids and budgets makes the outcome predictable before violence occurs. This self-correcting behavior is what constitutes natural arbitration. The buyout opportunity gives both sides a peaceful way to settle. The threat of reputational and financial ruin ensures that most conflicts never reach enforcement. Arbitration occurs not through pre-agreement or authority, but through revealed preference and public information. 5. Price level and systemic balance. At the macro level, the same mechanism that governs arbitration also stabilizes the price level. Two opposing forces operate during a conflict. Resource consumption by enforcers reduces total output, a temporary inflationary effect. Reputational monetary penalties reduce effective money supply, a deflationary effect. Because the penalty equals the real resources destroyed, the two effects offset each other. Once most conflicts resolve through buyout or early yield, both effects become minimal. The result is a stable or mildly deflationary price level, reflecting a system in which every unit of currency corresponds to preserved productive capital rather than hidden destruction. 6. Evolutionary efficiency and moral order. The entire process, from buyout to enforcement as backup to reputational penalty, creates an evolutionary moral order grounded in efficiency, not ideology. Property naturally gravitates toward the party with higher expected productivity. Conflicts resolve through transparent offers rather than opaque violence. When fights do occur, the instigator pays for the societal damage. Enforcers act as neutral executors of revealed economic truth, not as judges or moral agents. In the long run, the system selects against those who escalate conflict and rewards those who arbitrate or yield early. Ownership, reputation, and purchasing power converge toward the most productive individuals and institutions. 7. Conclusion. The high bidder system turns what was once the domain of law and coercion into a transparent market process. Buyout is the first form of arbitration, a peaceful trade between rational actors. Enforcement is the backup, an expensive and reputationally risky last resort. Together they produce natural arbitration, where conflict becomes self-limiting and the economy evolves toward efficiency, moral clarity, and price stability. War becomes uneconomical, peace becomes profitable, and justice emerges as the natural equilibrium of transparency.